All right, let's be on the record in case number 2019-CR993, captioned State of Kansas versus Justin Wagoner. Would the parties announce their appearances, please?
May it please the court, the state appears by Assistant District Attorney Claire Thibodeau.
May it please the court, Justin Wagner appears in person through counsel Gary Stone over Zoom.
All right, we are here sitting down for a plea hearing. As far as the preliminary hearing goes, I heard this preliminary hearing a few weeks back, so I don't think we have that issue and we can go forward with the plea today. Mr. Wagoner, to take up your plea, I'm going to have to ask you a lot of questions. Anytime I ask you a question, you don't understand what I'm asking, you tell me that. We'll talk about it until we both are sure we're talking about the same thing, okay?
Yes, sir.
At any time, if you want to talk to Mr. Stone in private before you answer one of my questions, you just tell me that. I have the ability to send you off to what's called a breakout room so you can talk to him privately, okay?
Yes, sir.
To get started, I need to have you sworn in. So if you'd raise your right hand, my court reporter will swear you in.
You solemnly swear that the testimony you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
Thank you.
All right. Mr. Wagoner, how far did you go in school?
Some college.
All right. You read and write okay?
Yes, sir.
As you sit here today, are you under the influence of any alcohol or drugs or prescription medicine that might cloud your mind, keep you from understanding what you're doing today?
No, sir.
All right. Do you know what the original charges are in your case?
Yes, sir.
All right. And you know you don't have to change your plea from not guilty to guilty. If you wanted to maintain your not guilty plea, you'd have a right to a jury trial on those charges. You understand that?
Yes, sir.
At that trial, the state would have to prove you guilty beyond a reasonable doubt. You wouldn't have to prove anything yourself. Mr. Stone would assist you throughout that trial. He would cross-examine and confront all of the state's witnesses and evidence. He could call any witnesses you wanted called. If they didn't want to come to court, he could use subpoena power to make them come to court. If you wanted to testify at that trial, you would have a right to testify, but you would also have a right not to testify. And if you decided not to, the state couldn't use that to argue you must be guilty. You understand that?
Yes, sir, I do.
If we had that trial and you were convicted, you would have a right to appeal that conviction to an appellate court. If you didn't have the money to do that, a lawyer would be appointed to do it for you. Do you understand that?
Yes, sir, I do.
All right, we do this plea today. You're going to be giving up all of those rights. There's not going to be any kind of trial in this case. You understand that?
Yes, sir.
All right. So the attorneys have told me that their agreement is that you're going to plead guilty to the misdemeanor count of possession of drug paraphernalia, which is a B misdemeanor, and that they are going to recommend that we go to sentencing today and ask me to give you 6 months in jail, but keep you from going by giving you 12 months of probation. Is that your understanding of the entire plea agreement?
I understood there was no contest. I guess I don't know if there's a difference.
Okay. Well, there is in what you have to say. I didn't know it was a no contest. Is that correct, Mr. Stone?
Yes, Judge, I'm sorry about that. It's
Okay, that's okay. Yeah, so no contest just means instead of admitting you did what they say you did, you just decide not to contest their evidence. You understand the differences there?
I do.
Okay, all right. Let me see, where was I at? So the maximum penalty for this charge is 6 months in jail and $1,000 fine. You understand that I can give you anything up to the maximum, even given the recommendations of the parties today.
Yes, sir, I do.
Okay. Do you have any questions for me about anything that we've gone over today?
No, sir, I don't.
All right. And so as to that amended charge, which is possession of drug paraphernalia, a B misdemeanor, how do you plead? Guilty, not guilty, or no contest?
No contest.
Okay. I'm going to ask the state to tell me what they think their evidence would be. I want you to listen closely, because when they're done, I'm going to ask you if you agree that that's what they believe they could put on. Okay?
Yes, sir.
Ms. Thibodeau.
On August 26th of 2019, officers from the Kansas City, Kansas Police Department were on patrol in the area of the 7th Street Casino. They conducted a stop on 6th and Ann Avenue in Kansas City, Wyandotte County, Kansas. They made contact with the driver, who is the defendant, Justin Wagoner. One of the officers observed in plain view several syringes in the driver door compartment of that car. Through that officer's training and experience, he knew that the syringes were used to inject drugs.
All right. Mr. Wagoner, I'm not asking you if you agree or disagree with that evidence, but do you understand that's what the state believes they could put on?
Can I talk to Mr. Stone real quick, just to make sure?
Sure, I'm
Thank you.
going to send you to breakout room. Hold on one second.
Thank you.
You should get an invite, accept it.
Okay.
Well, I could just in 5 minutes, it's 6:30. That's too bad if you're gonna be there. No, that's fine. No, that's fine. I can just, right.
So my
We can hear
guess
your
is he
wife or your
doesn't.
kids. Yeah,
What's that?
we can hear your wife or your kids or whoever.
Oh,
that-
it's the wife. Tina, give me 1 second.
Oh, I would like to hear that.
She just blah, blah, blah. And getting ready to send the kids back to school on Monday. She's not happy about it. And it does seem kind of crazy.
There.
All right.
I think we're back, Judge, and you were telling him, did he agree with the factual basis as laid out by the state, and whether he would agree that that's the evidence they would put on? And I think he would agree that that's the evidence the state would put on.
All right. In other words, you're not admitting any of it is true or anything like that, just that that's what they believe that the officers would testify to. Do you understand that?
Yes, sir.
Okay, super. All right. I will find the defendant has freely, voluntarily, and intelligently changed his plea from one of not guilty to no contest. The state has provided a sufficient factual basis for a finding of guilt. The defendant understands the nature of the charges, the consequences of his plea, and the state has provided that sufficient factual basis for finding of guilt. I therefore will find defendant Justin Wagoner guilty of the crime of possession of drug paraphernalia, a B misdemeanor. The parties have waived pre-sentence investigation, requested that we go to sentencing today. I approve of that, so I would hear your comments as to sentencing, Ms. Thibodeau.
Your Honor, I would ask that you give the defendant a 6-month underlying sentence and 12 months of probation to adult court services. It looks like he has he has 5 days of jail credit. I would also ask that you order that he undergo a drug and alcohol evaluation and follow all of those recommendations.
Mr. Stone.
Your Honor, we'd also ask for the same sentence. This is what we agreed to. This was something that we discussed over a long period of time, and we think it's appropriate. He will get that evaluation and follow recommendations.
All right. Mr. Wagoner, now's your opportunity. Tell me anything you want me to know before I pass sentence today.
Nothing, Your Honor. Just thank you for your time, and I apologize for even bringing this before you. So
That's all right. All right. I will follow the plea agreement. Defendant will be sentenced to a period of 6 months in county jail. That will be suspended, and he will be granted 12 months of probation to adult court services. One of the specific requirements of that probation be that he complete a drug and alcohol evaluation, follow the recommendations thereof. Since Mr. Stone, you were retained, I assume that your client has the ability to pay court costs, supervision fee. All right, I'll order those. $100 a month should be more than sufficient for him to be able to pay it off long before his probation is up. So I'll order that he pay it at a rate of $100 a month. All right. Anything else that we need to take up today, Ms. Thibodeau? Jail time credits granted.
Appeal rights and expungement rights.
Yeah. All right. Mr. Wagoner, if you don't like something about your sentence today, you have 14 days from today to appeal that. You also may be able to seek expungement of this charge after a period of time following successful completion of probation, okay?
Yes, sir.
All right.
Judge,
Anything else?
the one
Mr.
question I had was you say he's paying $100 a month. I'm not sure what he's paying $100 a month towards. There's
Court
150
costs, whatever they are in misdemeanors and supervision fees. I don't have the cost sheet right here in front of me. So
Alright.
they're gonna be,
$158 is the misdemeanor. I know that.
all right, and then supervision fee, I think is 120. So he's looking at $270 or something like that. Ballpark, total ballpark.
All right. Thank you.
I can pay that today if need be.
I'll explain that to you later, Justin. That's fine.
Yeah. Today might not be a good idea because the paperwork won't have gotten there yet. They won't know what you're paying. So keep in touch with Mr. Stone. He'll get that done, help you get that done.
Okay, yeah,
Call me right now when we get off the court. Okay, Justin?
And Gary, do you have the number to probation that you can give your client so he can call and check in?
I do.
I'll give him a heads up that he's coming.
2846, I believe.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah. All right. Anything else for our record today?
No, Your Honor. Thank you.
No, Your Honor.
We are adjourned. Mr. Stone, if you could hang for just a second after everybody leaves, a different case. I want
Gotcha.
to.
And Justin, I'll call you here in a minute.
okay, I'll call you. I'll wait about 15 minutes and call you, Gary. I'm using a different phone.
Perfect.
Thank you. All
All
right.
right. Bye.
Said you have 11 o'clock next, correct?
Yep. And that's it.
Okay. You're still streaming, you know that, before you talk with Gary?
Oh, yeah. Good idea.